My name is Athena Kablenyu. I am a comedian and writer, and this is my podcast, Procrastinate, for professional procrastinators like you guys. You must be pretty good at it if you found this podcast. Today, my guest is Thanyia Moore. She is absolutely fantastic, and I give her a pretty tasty introduction before we chat. So let's get into it right now. Enjoy. Welcome to Procrastination, comedian, writer, actor, voice artist. What have I missed out? Dancer? You still dancing?
Don't I don't I, for fun.
For fun.
For fun.
for, for fun. Private dancer, dancing for love.
Yes.
That's not you
And I
anymore.
dance privately.
And everything else. Thanyia Moore, thank you for coming on to Procrastination.
Hi.
It's a pleasure. I would like to ask you a question. I've been asking this question to everybody. What are you not doing right now that you should be doing, but you've decided to jump onto this podcast?
Accounting.
Accounting. No one said that yet. That's so funny.
Yes.
Everyone has said, oh, I've got to write a script or like do creative stuff. Nobody has said mundane kind of like everyday realities that we all kind of have to deal with. Accounting. Are you generally quite good with the kind of business side of life, or is this something that just haunts you?
Yes, it's a big monster that lures over my shoulder all the time, breathing down my neck, and I just can't face him. I hate it. Just let me spend the money. Why do we need to know where it came from and how I spent it? Just let me have it.
And the biggest shock I had was like when I started to use an accountant, I was like, you still have to do work. Like I thought I could just give them stuff and they deal with it. But you still do your own accounting.
My pay slips go straight to my accountant. Why do you need to talk to me?
Yeah. And like I
Honestly.
just thought they would just kind of know everything and or just deal or sort the information. But no, you still have to do your spreadsheet, expenses and claims and all this kind of nonsense. So when the reality set in that you can't hide from this, you can't delegate this to anybody else. And then if you do, you'll get a letter, you'll get a brown envelope with on Her Majesty's Secret Service. And you know those envelopes that you know it's from the tax office, like you just know, and you
know it's not good news.
Your hands are shaking when you open it, like it's oh. Okay, accounting.
You know it's come to ruin your day. That's the thing.
Okay, so what do you have any strategies to help you with this? Because you can't, bearing in mind we can't hide from this. How is it that you just wait till the last minute and then it's got to be done?
Yeah, I have a strategy. I'm not sure if it's a good idea. I'm not sure if I'm imparting advice to anybody. But my strategy is ignore it until you can't anymore.
Ignore it. What I've loved about doing this podcast so far is that I'm getting all this advice, and your advice is just the most scandalous kind of reckless. Everyone else I've been like, that's really good. I'm going to make a little meme of that and send it around. And this is like, I'm not going to do a meme of that.
I'm honest. It might not be the best
responsible.
advice.
It's like just ignore the fire until actually like it's getting closer to your house, and then you should probably support
until you can
water
feel
on
it.
Yeah. So have you, first of all, are you a procrastinator, and have you always been a procrastinator, if so?
I am a procrastinator. I think I have always been a procrastinator. I think I procrastinate on things that scare me the most.
Okay, so fear comes into it. And what is it? Fear because it's something boring and you don't really know how to do it, like accounting, or fear because the stakes might be high? Or is it a combination of lots of things?
I think it's a bit of both.
Okay.
I think if I'm bored and it doesn't drive me, then I'll put it to the back burner. I don't know if that's procrastination or just being lazy. But then when it scares me, I really am like, take long to do it. 'Cause I'm like, oh my God.
What kind of things, if you don't mind talking about them, what kinds of things would scare you that you would put off? Is it like just like
doing a 1 hour show?
Right. Okay. Right.
Took me 10 years because I was like, I can't talk for an hour. That's weird as shit.
But some people would argue that people do 1 hour shows too quickly. I think it takes about, I think I think personally, this is just what I think. It's just an opinion. I think when you start doing comedy, it probably takes about 5 years to get good enough to do an amazing 1 hour show. you could
Yeah,
do an hour show. And then I think it takes, once you decide it's your format and you like it, I personally think it takes about 2 years to write and
yeah,
work up a 1 hour show. But that's if
yeah.
you're not doing stand-up full time. So you're the time to workshop it, and so that it could be
All
small,
of
it
that.
could be shorter than that if you get lots of work in progresses in, if you're on the circuit. And
Yeah.
but I think roughly, so when you say 10 years, I disagree. I think that's, I think that's not a bad, because 10 years is like when we started doing comedy. So that doesn't
Yeah.
even count,
Well,
right?
that's
So
true, actually.
it's not
Yeah, that's
it's
true.
not 10 years. You should count it from the point at which you were kind of creatively in that place, like competent to do it.
Okay.
Because I always
It
say
took me 2 months to do my first one.
I did it in a day, but it's true. Like,
Yeah.
I always say to people this: I started doing comedy in about 2012, but I probably wasn't good at it until about 2015, 2016. And
Yeah.
that's not me being I think genuinely I was probably like I had a kind of a grasp of what it is to be a comedian
Yeah.
then. And so I start the clock
I think
then.
I found that for me during lockdown,
Yeah,
where
that's
I
really
was really
interesting.
like, where I was like, nah, Tan, if you can do this via the screen, there's some power in what you do. And then when I went back onto stage, all right, the first couple of months was a bit like teething because we hadn't been on stage in ages. But then after that, I
Yeah.
felt more confident as myself as a comedian only after lockdown.
How did you find lockdown as a procrastinator? Did you find it helped you, or did you find all of a sudden you had lots of time to accommodate the stuff you need to do and the stuff you're doing to avoid the
Ooh,
stuff you need to do?
that's a good question. Um, because I enjoyed lockdown in the beginning because spitefully so, I had ripped my Achilles and
Mm.
had one boot, and so I wasn't supposed to be going to work much. I was like, oh no, I'm going to be out of the game. And then he said lockdown, and I was like, oh well, we're all out of the game. Wonderful. So, at first, I was like, this is great. At least we're all stopping. But then I was scared to do the online gigs. And when they first started coming around, I was like, no, not doing it, not doing it, not doing it. And then I got an offer for £1,000+ for 10 minutes. And I was like, this sounds great. This sounds amazing. And then
Mm.
after that, I found I really enjoyed it. So I just kicked it into overdrive. But in terms of like procrastinating on it, I think the fear held me back from doing it when it first came up. Like I
Yeah.
had to get an incentive for me to jump on it.
That's really interesting because I would describe you, and nobody knows anybody really, but I would describe you as like a really confident,
Yeah,
outgoing, extroverted person. Do you
yeah.
often find that people are surprised to hear that you are fearful of certain creative performing situations?
Yeah, I'm often surprised that people are like, I think you're quite confident because even me, I'm like, I want to watch me because I want to know what I'm doing to come across so confident because
Yeah,
I second guess myself all of the day,
yeah.
every day. Um, I'm as regular as the next person. I think growing up with both my parents actually said, you don't know anything until you try it once.
Mm.
So I've always been somebody to be like, well, you never know until you try. So that I think that might be where people are like, you're so confident. But I'm like, well, no, I'm just trying it so I know if I like it or not. Because that's what
I
I was raised on.
I think people are very surprised to hear that comedians have these kind of qualities, particularly like introversion, because I would
Yeah.
describe myself as an introvert, and people are like, "Well, that's really stupid because your job requires you to stand up in front of people staring at them, and not only that, staring at you with an expectation." So it's not a TED talk,
Yeah.
It's like, well,
Yeah.
you better say something funny. But the way I explain it to people is that there's two ways to look at it. Like, first of all, like if you are a shy and introverted person, the problem that can cause you problems in life because there are very few rewards for that. Like unless you are like a novelist and you sit in your house all day, most
Yeah.
most things you do in life, whether it's comedian or accountant, you've got to talk to people and engage with them.
Yeah.
So I personally, once I realized that, I was like, I better find some ways to do this. But the second thing is like what comedy is observing things that other people don't see, or they haven't realized, and you have to have a kind of quite a contemplative nature to do that. But unfortunately, you have to, in order to communicate what you've observed and what you've written, you have to stand up in front of people. So it's kind of like being in front of people is a consequence. It's not an aim. I would love to do this another way, but it's unfortunate. It's
It's
unfortunate that I have this skill, and the only way this skill can earn me money is if I do it in front of people. And there isn't
right.
really a choice. So you kind of have to just get into bed with that beast.
Yeah.
But do you enjoy it? Because I enjoy it as well.
Comedy,
Yeah.
not so much.
As in
In
stand
all
up, as in
honesty,
like live stand up.
as in
Yeah.
stand up, sorry, yeah, as in stand up, not so much. That wasn't something that I was driven to do. It's something I kind of fell into.
Yeah.
So um, it's not that I hate it or dislike it. I don't have a negative feeling towards it. And in the middle of it, I'm like, okay, this works,
Mhm.
but it's not the thing that drives me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Acting drives me.
Yeah.
Comedy, I'm at that stage now where they're like, Tanya, can you do the gig? And I'm Googling maps and I'm figuring out how long it's going to take and like doing all the bits that I should have been doing from before. Whereas
Yeah.
acting, they'll be like, Tanya, we've got one word for you to say. I'll be like, I'll drive to Scotland tomorrow. Like, I just go. Do you know what I mean? So I think
Yeah.
having these moments lets me know where I stand with comedy. I do enjoy it in the moment, but the writing, the research, the up and the down, I'm just like, put it in the
do,
bin.
do you find that your procrastination changes depending on the job you've got to do? So if you've got an acting role and you've got to like memorize something, are you just like, right, I'm going to spend all day on this, or are you still wandering around the house looking for things to clean before you get down to your
Do you know
script?
what's so funny? I think the procrastination wins every time.
Yeah.
It does. I would love to sit here and lie to you and be like, no, it's acting. I like to get into character. And I do like to get into character, but it's all still very much at the last minute.
Yeah.
I wish I might just be a last minute babes because
Yeah.
everything I do, I just work better when there's a bit of pressure behind me.
Yeah, there's nothing like a deadline to motivate you. It can be really
Yeah.
motivating knowing, okay, I've only got 2 hours left of my day to do this. Whereas if I've got
Yeah.
like if it's 9 in the morning and I've got all day, it's like, well, I probably should go for a run and a run. Do you, what kind of, so I think what I've realized is you can divide procrastination into sort of different categories. So kind
Yeah.
of like self-care, which should be like the power nap,
Yes.
or there could be kind of like the house care, the house cleaning stuff, the kind of groceries,
Yeah.
life admin kind of stuff, right? And then
Yeah.
there's just like batshit. What are you doing? Which is just like that. No
Why are
one.
you doing
So, for
this?
example,
Yeah.
there's somebody outside my house who litter picks the street. She goes
Oh.
out and she picks litter, and you might say she's doing a public service. I'm like, that woman's a procrastinator. Do you know what I mean? Like, that
Completely.
woman's a procrastinator. She has got something she needs to do, and she's like, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to walk up and down the street and pick up crisp packets because we live near a park, right?
Oh
So,
my God,
are
that is
you?
hilarious.
Have you done any crisp packet picking equivalent stuff, or is it all useful? Is it all like, okay,
No,
I've got
well, I mean, it could be. I think it's useful. Yesterday, I was supposed to um send off 2 emails to my accountancy. This is day 3 of procrastination accountancy. And instead of doing that, I had ordered some organizers and I organized my fridge and my cupboards.
Yeah, that's borderline for me because cupboards should be organized. So I do,
Babes,
yeah. I'm a
I get it
very
now that she's organized. I get it now. But like, before I was living rogue. Everything was just going in there. Yeah.
do you have any kind of like things that you do like Duolingo and stuff that you're like, okay, this is procrastination, but also it's me putting a pin in my day job and building on other aspects? Or would that help
Um,
you think?
I have decided, and I decided this 2 months ago, that I want to join a Pilates class
Oh,
because I've
right.
seen
Love it. Yeah.
many old ladies who are strong as shit in my Pilates class. And I said, you know what? I'm starting now, Barbara. I'm joining you.
And they're
So
standing on
every
their
now and
heads and shit.
again,
Yeah.
all of it, like all of it, and I'm falling over all the time. Their core is connected. It's right. So I've decided to nowadays when I'm like, oh, maybe Tanya, instead of doing your accountancy, you need to have a moment to meditate and breathe. So why don't you just do a quick 30-minute Pilates when really I should be doing accountancy?
So I advocate this actually because I've decided that um most people know, I'm sure you're aware too, that procrastination, putting things off, to several to-do lists all over the fucking place. People associate it with like neurodivergence, ADHD,
Yeah.
but I also think there's something else going on, which is like, we're not meant to work. As humans, we weren't designed to do this. And that's why our response to work is to often find something else to do that generally doesn't make us money or whatever. But that's if we can train ourselves to in those moments to do something that isn't going on Twitter or,
What's that?
all that kind of stuff, then it's not procrastination because it's investing in ourselves. And then when we're
Oh,
ready, we can then do this other thing that the world makes us do to pay our bills. So actually, I think that's a really good thing that you're kind of being
oh,
inspired by people in your Pilates
come
class.
on. Yeah. It's one of the things that my therapist gave me, and I just think it's one of the best things because it does, wherever you're feeling, it does regulate you. The
Yeah.
breathing, the reminding yourself of who you are, all that kind of stuff does regulate you. And so, I mean, it doesn't stop my procrastination because after that, I'll be like, well done, Tan. Go and have a nap. And then the rest of the day is mine because I'm treating myself for being really good earlier. And that's how you end up 3 days not doing no accountancy.
Have you have
That's
you
how
ever
you end
had
up.
have you ever had like any consequences for putting stuff off? Have you like missed a deadline or
Yeah,
someone's like, you're supposed to be here and you're like, oh no, I forgot.
1000%. I had last year. I had the dirtiest debt. You know when you pay your tax late and you get that.
Oh,
I don't know
yeah,
if you know
yeah, yeah.
actually. You pay your tax late and you get that
You get
tax
you get
that
charged
that
interest. Yeah. Yeah,
reprimanding.
yeah.
Yeah, last year I said this will never sting me again. This will
I
never
had that a few years
sting me
ago.
again.
So yeah, I've had that quite a long time ago. It was a mistake more than a late payment, but the way, oh, I still think about that because it's the kind of money that I was like, if that was still in my account, that'd be quite useful right now. And
Babes.
and it hasn't even like I hasn't even gone anywhere. Like, do you know what I mean? Like a member of the public has to pick the litter off my street, you know. And I paid HMRC a very large amount of money a few years ago.
Yeah.
Just making it doesn't the maths ain't mathing. Like, what's going on?
No.
I find it all like really like offensive the way they find it really easy to take money from us. Yet when Vodafone or Amazon or Shell, to sort of build some buildings. And I mean, that's what Google does. Google just, if anyone who's in London, they'll know that Google have built most of King's Cross because
Yeah.
all of that it's basically a massive tax write-off, which sounds insane, but it's
Yeah.
completely correct. So they're like, we made a
Yeah.
billion, but we built this for 500 million. So we're not
So
going to be taxed on that. And then the rest
yeah.
of it is invested abroad or whatever. And yet they can ask us for our little direct debits. It's like, this is
And
like,
they
it
ask you
cannot
for
be
so
right.
much as
Yeah.
well. Like it's
And
insane.
and it doesn't make any sense. Not this is completely off topic now, but if we're talking about what the function of society is, if we go out and we have our money, we spend it. I go to
Yeah.
Sainsbury's, I go to Tesco's, I go to fucking Dixon's, which I just found
Yeah.
out closed 10 years ago. Did you know Dixon's closed?
No.
They fucking, do you know how people cussed me out for not knowing Dixon's closed? I never felt so old. It was like,
Wait, hold on a minute. When did Dixon's close?
imagine someone says Rumbelows, right? And you're like, what are you talking about? Rumbelows closed. That's how people acted when I said Dixon's. I felt so ashamed. Imagine someone says Comet, yeah, and you're all beach
Yeah.
abs. That's how they acted towards me. All these men, all these, because you know how it is in comedy now. You're
If
surrounded
they
by
say
Gen Z.
Woolworths.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's like you're surrounded by all these 20-year-olds who are like using all these words you don't understand.
Yeah.
And then it's
Yeah.
like, I said peng, and they said, what does that mean? I went, what? They don't say peng no
Wow. We
more.
can't use peng.
Well, you know something? I think we can, but they're like, oh, it's like that we haven't moved on, but they've moved on. And
Yeah.
saying it makes you
Got
look
Riz
like you
now.
come, like saying it makes you like all your photos from your childhood in that brown color. And they're like, oh, when you have one picture of you from a baby, because you used to get one picture, that was it.
Oh
And
my God, Athena, I just realized that their photos aren't going to be in the brown color.
that Google photos, man, every day of their life has been
Oh
documented.
my God,
It's
Athena, I just
mental.
realized.
It's
I thought we would
mental.
all. No, do you know
Yeah.
what? For old school's sake, all of your kids' photos, make them brown.
Just like
Just put tea all over them.
That's hilarious. Let's do that little filter just
Yeah.
so we don't feel so bad. In the
Yeah.
photo, in the photo album with the pages all stuck together, you
Oh
know.
my God, there are kids who are going to see their kids' photo in 5D. That
So
is
so
mad.
we are doing right now what all procrastinators do, which is just fucking go off topic. this is a real this podcast has been a nightmare to record, as you can imagine, because it's
I
like
can imagine.
procrastinators ensemble, and then we get together and it's just like hours of us talking about things that have nothing to do with
With
work. Are
procrastinating.
you do you work better alone or with people?
Oh, with people.
With people, why? What do you think it is
Yeah.
about people that makes you kind of focus
The
onto the task
bouncing
at
off
hand?
of the we're all together doing the mixing, the creativity. When
Yeah.
I'm alone, there's no one to bounce off of. I feel like it's like I feel like, let's say we're writing a TV show. The TV
Mm,
show to me is a car, and the car is broken down. You can't get one person to go to the car and push it. You need lots of people to push this car to get the thing going and get it off the ground. And that's how I see most creative processes. I need someone to like have this moment with, or it's just going to be me sitting in a room, and at the end of the day, it's going to be me with the same empty paper looking at you. Like, I don't know
yeah.
what you want here.
I think that's a
I couldn't
beautiful
pick.
analogy,
Oh,
not only because it describes, I think, really accurately the kind of the development process of any kind
yeah,
of like, no pun intended, creative vehicle, but also it kind of explains why it's really hard to start writing on your own, because you literally are trying to start a broken down car and it's on bricks and there's no
yeah,
engine, and and it's cut and shut, so it needs to be welded back together,
yeah,
and all this stuff. And I think we, as any kind of creative person, whether you're creating like writing or comedy or music, we don't always acknowledge the size of the boulder we're trying to push up a hill. And
yes,
I think if we're going away from that process to do our Pilates or go for a run or do some shopping or cook dinner for later, what we're doing is building up that strength to face the task at hand. So that's why I
right,
think we should be much kinder to ourselves when we don't spend every minute of the day trying to kind of make the car move or push the boulder up the hill, because we're just trying to get the inspiration
yeah,
and the strength and the stamina
yeah,
and
yeah,
the right mindset. So when we do it, we're in the best possible shape. So what I'm
yeah.
saying is, I think we should just do Pilates right now. I think we should, I think we should just go and do just plank. Um,
Girl, the morning
but
I've had this morning, I've already Pilates and yoga today.
but what's your relationship like with social media as a consumer? Like, do you use it? Do you find yourself kind of distracted by it a lot?
Oh, 1,000%.
Yeah.
I've now got this routine where I'm not allowed to touch my phone until I've done certain daily tasks of a morning,
Oh, that's
because
really strict. Okay, so what kind of
yeah.
tasks are we talking about? Like work
So
tasks?
no, so like yes, I wake up, I drink 500 milliliters of water, I journal, I meditate, I yoga. I have to have a little dance. Apparently they say dancing like a dance break. If you have dance breaks throughout the day, it release all the tension in your body. So I do that of a
Okay.
morning. I drink tea. I make sure I plan and prep for my day, and I make sure I do as much as I can before touching my phone and saying hi, and possibly getting lost in that TikTok. Oh, you go on TikTok and then 2 hours later you're like, oh shit, it's been 2 hours.
And how easy do you find maintaining that routine?
I am. I think it's schedule dependent. For example, like when we've got big long days and you got to leave early, you got a whole long day. It's
Yeah.
not really realistic to have a 2 hour session in the morning. So I do as much as so in the morning. Every morning, what I definitely do: 500 milliliters, journal, yoga. That's
Yeah.
about regardless of what my day is. That's the beginning. So yeah, it's schedule dependent. But if I have an easier day, then I definitely knock that out every day,
Yeah.
every time.
And what are the
Yeah.
benefits? Like, because I'm fascinated by this, because that routine sounds so holistic. Like, I'm looking at
Yeah.
you like, wow, you're a
Yeah.
goddess. You know,
I didn't. No, it's not the
because
goddess.
but it's like, that's like you journal and you drink half a liter of water. And I'm like, I'm here with like, by 9 p.m., I've had two coffees. You know what I mean? I'm lucky if
Right.
I'm eating something. Do you know what I mean? So the reason, let me tell you why I'm fascinated with it. My morning routine is shit. And I know it's shit. And I'm trying really hard for it
Yeah.
not to be, I'm trying to eat breakfast. I'm literally going, I'm trying to like just eat one piece of fruit, just to, and
Yeah.
I'm like, that's the kind of discipline that I'm genuinely trying to work on now, like starting my day properly.
It wasn't easy. I did it because I did a 28-day spiritual course where I wanted
Yes.
to find tools and do all these things that meant I wasn't waking up and just throwing myself into the world because I can feel
Mm.
the difference, i.e., now because I have like breathing patterns and stuff that I've learned, I'm just more patient, I'm peaceful. I can see things from different perspective more. There's no rush to judgment, there's no emotional reaction. There's no, you know what I mean? There's just time to just say, whoa.
Yeah. So
And
when
that's
I
why it's really important in the morning to like remind myself who I am. So I do like affirmations and stuff and meditations, what I'm grateful for. And then you can just start to, well, I do, I start to see the world. When I leave my house or I open the phone, now I'm like, nothing's personal to me. Everyone's going through their own stuff, Tan. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Like, it's fine.
So you know that bit where I was like, "Oh, I'm not giving out that advice."
Yeah.
Are we people will hold me liable to how it ruins them. This is the bit that I'm
Yeah.
gonna cut out. Like reclaim your
Yeah.
morning,
Yeah.
reclaim your mornings.
Reclaim your
Yeah,
mornings. Yeah.
because
And the
it's.
evenings.
I mean, have you got any other tips?
Yeah, I
Fix
think
me, basically.
the bedtime routine really pushes me for the morning routine. And
Bedtime
I find if I,
routine. Okay, this is interesting.
yeah.
Okay.
So the bedtime routine is yoga again, breathing, sometimes chanting. It's so imperative. 3 times a week, have a bath. I'm
Oh,
such
wow.
a
Okay.
shower girl.
Yeah.
I didn't think about it. I'm like, quickly get in the shower, get out. So long as you've washed yourself and your legs, you're fine. But I don't tend to like take the second to have a bath and
Yeah.
appreciate what that means, the stopping. Also reading my book, taking in literature from somewhere else, whether it's fiction or non-fiction.
Mm,
Read the book, man. Minimum
yeah.
pages, sorry, and then journal again. Journal brain dump because when you don't journal, I've realized when you don't journal, you keep it in. And you know those conversations you have to yourself inside always, always. You don't get no answer or no clarity or nothing if you don't get them out. It just
Yeah.
stays inside. And you know, like in the black community, because we're so good at like not talking generations before anyway, we've got aunties and grandmas with hip problems that doctors can't find the answer to. It's emotional. It's
Yeah.
all emotional. So my actual drive to do this was because I don't want to be like them. And I was like, I can already feel that my shoulders were always up. Do you know what I mean? My tongue was always on the top of my mouth. My back was always hurting. And I'm
Yeah.
like, this is because you just need to
You
just
shake
stretch
it
it
out.
out.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
journaling is like shaking it out. I talk to people on this podcast and they come to me and they say, Athena, I'm a procrastinator. I do this, I do that. I just put off work, I put off work. But I am here to tell you that I think we need another word for procrastination, right? Because
Yeah, but
everything you
remember, like,
are.
I'm only here now because I did a 28-day course. Now, what I
Yeah,
didn't
that's
tell
true.
you is the first 2 weeks was me struggling to drink water in the morning and do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
I could tell you at the end of the course now how great the course was, but in
yeah,
the beginning, the procrastination was real because I'd wake up and my natural urge is to grab the phone. And I'd be like, no, don't grab the phone, get some water.
yeah,
But in the beginning, it took me 40 minutes to drink 500 milliliters of water. Now I'm
yeah.
at 10, but I was like, oh my God.
Just that
Oh my God.
we have to acknowledge that work it takes to make these
Yeah,
changes, I think, is
yeah,
the message here. Like these are
yeah,
changes that can be made, but they
yeah,
don't get made instantly. And I think when we try to make them instantly and then we fail, we go, well, I'm a procrastinator. That's just life. But it's no.
yeah,
It's like, no, you have to, it takes time. And I think
yeah,
for not this isn't going to be true for everyone, but for me, my procrastination is probably learned. I used
yes,
to manage to squeeze quite a lot into my day, particularly when I had a proper job.
yeah,
And that was because there were demands placed on me that had to be and things had to be done. And now there are fewer kind of like time-based demands. I still have the same amount of work on, but when people want it is slightly more flexible, I
different,
guess.
yeah,
So I am capable of sort of sitting down and getting stuff done. And I am capable of doing it without waiting till the last minute. But to
yeah,
get there again is going to take time. And I
yeah.
think that's the message here. So I am going to end this by saying congratulations on getting there. It's
Come on.
inspirational. It really is.
Ah,
And you are sat here.
listen.
People can't see this because I'm not. This is not a visual podcast because I'm not a man who says the word female a lot. So I'm not. I wasn't really interested in that kind of format. You know the thing about females.
Females, yeah, females.
These females, man. They want
Meanwhile, You and your mom's relationship is mad toxic. But
Yeah.
anyway.
But you're sitting here, your skin is
Thank
on
you.
on fleek. I don't think the kids
Oh,
say that
don't
anymore.
say that. No, don't say that.
But your skin is looking
Don't say
amazing.
that. Thank you.
You are glowing, and you are a testament to the effectiveness of just looking after yourself before you
Yeah.
look after the things you got to take care of in your life, which is
Yeah.
really important.
And
I'm
I'd
good.
just like to say before you finish, sorry, I just think it's really easy to say, I'm gonna do it. But one thing that's really hard is putting yourself first. Because
Mm,
we've been raised to put everybody else and their feelings first. And I tell you, like I said, at the end of the course, it's easy to say, I do this now, but it was so hard in the beginning to
yeah.
put me first. And that procrastination of putting me first was real. I would lie to myself and be like, it's all right, you ain't gonna put yourself first. Just do that instead. But that wasn't the course.
Yeah, that's really
You get what I'm
interesting.
saying?
And also, I think what you've hit on something really important there, because sometimes procrastination comes out of selflessness. So
Yes.
what we are doing when we procrastinate is all the things someone else should be doing. Like when we talk about housework, cooking,
Girl, girl.
shopping, or
Shall I give you the
whatever.
real key? Let me give you the real key.
Yeah.
Whenever I feel like I'm about to procrastinate, this is what the lady who does my course said to me. Whenever you feel like you're about to do something that feels lazy or procrastination, ask yourself, is this what someone who loves themselves would do? What? When
Oh.
she said that, yeah, now every time I see it, I'm like, is this what someone, oh, Tanya, get up, man. Like, it's a real thing, babe.
Yeah,
It's
that's
real.
incredible. And then we realize, like, when me doing my work is
Yeah.
actually selfish. And that's okay. Like, I should be
Yeah.
able to sit down for 3 hours and write
And
this
do
thing
it.
or edit
Yeah.
this thing.
Yeah.
That's a note for me to edit this. But like,
Yeah.
and I should be able to do that, and I shouldn't have to feel the constant need to do other things that ultimately could be done by someone else or service someone else. And
Yeah.
reclaiming my time is also reclaiming my right to be selfish. And I hadn't really thought about
Yeah.
that before you made that observation. That's
Yeah.
again, man. We're gonna be memed out by the end of this. I'm gonna have to get Canva Pro after this podcast.
Babes, listen.
I got to pay them
Is
some
that
money.
what
Yeah.
someone who loves themselves would do? That is
Yeah.
when she said that to me, I was like, wow. And then she said to me about nourishing the body. That was the
Yeah.
first time that I heard it in a way that wasn't diet.
Right.
Eat something that
Yeah.
would nourish your body.
And like
Game
do
changer.
something. This is game changing.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna stop you before you change my life anymore. Do you know what I mean? I still need to like the washing up still needs to be done. Do you know what I mean? I'm not gonna
Yeah,
do.
is that what someone who, do you know what? Now I wash up before I go to bed. I'm not even ashamed to say sometimes they would be washing up there in the morning.
Yeah.
Sometimes. But now I'm like, Tanya, is that what someone who would love themselves would do? Would they do that? They wouldn't. Go and wash
See,
up.
and this is yeah, like so I'm a big fan of a clean kitchen before bedtime. I've got to say, I got that from
Yeah.
my mum because otherwise it's just like it's definitely like I will clean before the TV goes on, before the laptop opens, I will wash the fuck up.
Clean.
And I will get
Yeah.
the crumb, I will shake the toaster out, because that is
Yeah.
the one thing you want to wake up to, like a clean kitchen.
Yeah.
Tanya, this has been so I feel like I should pay you something for your time
No.
because
Don't be silly.
this has been quite like this has actually just been very restorative and just fascinating
Yeah.
for me, and it's really good to hear that you've invested in yourself,
Yeah.
and that you've shared this learning with us too, because I think I think you are a professional procrastinator, because this is exactly what a professional procrastinator would do, like
Yeah,
this is all,
exactly.
yeah.
I'm not going to go and do my accountancy. I'm going to go and fix myself. That
Yeah,
is procrastination level
and
101.
rationalize procrastination so you benefit from it. So
Exactly.
we use it
My
to better
accountant still hates
ourselves.
me, but
Yeah.
I am a better person.
Tell your accountant to do one, man. Do you know what I mean? Like,
This is what I'm
that's what they
saying.
expect from us. That's
Also,
what
if
they
you're
expect
listening, I
from
love
us.
you.
Funny, I just emailed mine today actually. I was like, because that payment from my account is creeping up, and I'm like, so what can we do about this? What can we do about
Babes.
this? Because they want it and I don't have it. So what can we do about it?
Here's the
Um,
thing: the email that I've printed it out. The email that she's asking me to do is to send her an update of my home costs, and there's a whole list of things to do. And I was like, And if I don't do it, then you can't do my taxes. So
Okay, well, and this is really, I'm actually ending every podcast with we're asking what are you supposed to be doing when you get off this call, and then I will
right,
politely tell you I think you should do it. So this is what you've
right.
got to do. You've got to deal with your accountant, and I'm politely saying to you, own yourself, own your time, self-care, Pilates, journal, but
Yeah,
also reply to your accountant. I think,
damn it.
reply to your accountant,
I
Tanya. I'm
will.
not gonna I'm not gonna say don't do it. Do it.
I
But
will.
thank you so much. This has
Thank
been a
you.
pleasure. Thank you. So you've got three choices. You can ignore the thing you absolutely have to do until you absolutely have to do it. You can reclaim your mornings, start the day in a really positive way, and that will set you up to get all your stuff done during the day. Or you can ask yourself a question. Is this something someone who loves themselves would do? Three options, all of equal merit. Pick and choose the one that works for you. Thank you so much for coming, Thanyia. That was such a great chat. I'm still laughing in my head. Please do follow Thanyia on all the socials. Keep up with her career. She's absolutely amazing and she is flying out there. Thank you for listening to Procrastinate. You can like, follow, share, do whatever you need to do to tell people about this podcast or not. It's all good. I'm just glad we spent this time together today. My name's Thanyia Moore and I'll see you next time.